Hello everyone, my name is Katie Mullins and today I will be talking about eyewitness testimonies in relation to memory error. Let's get started. So what are memory errors? Memory errors are incorrect recalls or complete loss of memory pertaining to a specific detail or an event. To study these errors, researchers could use DRM procedure, and that helps to produce memory errors even if the participants are aware of what the researchers are trying to do. Even things that help our memory can also hurt our memory. Schemata often helps us to remember specific details about an event based on our past experiences in the same or similar settings. For example, the picture of this messy room. If you've been in a messy room before, or your own room has been messy, you might remember things based on your experiences in your own messy room, like a water bottle being present when it's actually not, or something like that. Intrusion errors can also cause mistakes in memory due to prior knowledge of a certain event or situation. For example, if you visit the same Italian restaurant regularly, and they always have the same background music playing every time, then you go visit a new Italian restaurant, you may later recall the new Italian restaurant playing the same music as your regular Italian restaurant when they weren't even playing music at all. It can also produce false memories of events that never even happened at all. This happens in recalling events when part of our brain that we use to remember events overlaps with our imaginary part of the brain. A lot of our childhood memories are not really us remembering the full account, but people explaining the details of the event to us and us piecing it together to form our own memory. A person's recollection of an event can also be influenced by information given to them after the event has occurred. This is called the misinformation effect. For example, in this picture we see two cars colliding. When asked, how fast were the cars going when they hit together? They might give a lower speed than when asked, how fast were the cars going when they smashed into each other? In a study by Bernstein and colleagues, only one group of participants were told they had been previously ill from the consumption of boiled eggs, based on the data they had provided to the researchers. This false information proved to decrease the participants' want for hard-boiled eggs in the future. A research study by Seaman and colleagues, college students were asked to walk around campus and perform, watch, or imagine themselves doing a particular task. After several weeks, the students had a hard time recalling if they had actually completed the task, watched it, or imagined it. False memories can majorly impact how we view events from the past and even how we relate or react to similar events in the future. Due to the likelihood of error in memory recollection in humans, eyewitness testimony validity can be very questionable in court hearings. Evaluation of eyewitness testimonies rely very heavily on a jury and can be influenced by police investigation and attorney questioning on the stand. Due to advances in forensic DNA testing, eyewitness testimonies have lost a lot of their value in court. However, with lack of substantial forensic evidence, they can also still be very useful. This is why it's important for us to know the causes and how we can reduce these errors in testimonies. Before an eyewitness testifies in court, there is often police questioning. Intrusion factors and the misinformation effect can often be influenced by police questioning. As we saw on the slide with the car crash illustration, something as small as changing one word when asking a question can influence an eyewitness account. Bias lineups and racial profiling can majorly influence a person's ability to accurately recall a perpetrator. Repeatedly showing an eyewitness a certain facial feature or characteristic of a group of people in a lineup could incline them to believe that they fit the profile of the perpetrator, even if they did not get a very good look at the time of the crime. In one study, jurors were assessed based on their previous exposure to eyewitness testimony and the likelihood they would reach a guilty verdict. The researchers found that the more likely a juror was exposed to eyewitness testimony, the less likely they were to reach a guilty verdict. This finding strongly correlates with the fact that jurors see the errors in eyewitness testimonies. Considering how many errors there are in eyewitness testimonies and how many factors can influence these errors, it is important we learn how to correct, acknowledge, and prevent these type of errors from happening. This will help to make eyewitness testimonies more credible in criminal cases. Jurors tend to rely on the confidence, consistency, and memory in small details of an event when determining the accuracy of an eyewitness testimony. Educating jurors to pay more attention to relevant factors in eyewitness testimony is a major key in this reform. There is very little research on attorney knowledge of eyewitness testimony. In a survey by Wise and colleagues, prosecutors exhibited to know significantly less about eyewitness testimonies when compared to defense attorneys. Considering prosecutors are generally the ones who count on eyewitness testimonies to make their case, this is a major issue. Educating law enforcement officers is another major step in eyewitness testimony reform. In a survey conducted by Wise and colleagues, officers who had received eyewitness training scored significantly higher on eyewitness testimony knowledge scale than those who had not received the training. With that being said, for eyewitness testimonies to be considered more valuable in trials, it will take the criminal justice system using the testimonies to become more educated on the topic to prevent less errors and recalls and be able to educate the subjects set for testimony. Thank you for watching my presentation, and I hope you learned a little bit more about memory error in relation to eyewitness testimony.